Good to see you. Glad to have you be involved in listening to the teachings I've been giving on, especially recently on Psalms 23. And today, this is, I think, one of the critical turning points in becoming lovers of God. The things I want to share with you today. I've been talking about how the Psalms 23 is a roadmap for the lovers of God, of coming into our identity as sons and daughters of God, bringing the kingdom of heaven down on earth. And so the story so far that we've been talking about with Psalms 23 is how the Lord is our shepherd, and He guides us and leads us and makes us, do things and go places that we don't want to go. And this has to do with the inward journey, because there is something that has to happen deep within our souls when it comes to coming alive, having the ability to walk as Jesus walked, and to say the things that He said, and to do the impossible, because that's what it takes. It takes lovers, as Jesus was a lover, to come into this place. And so we've been talking about some really difficult things, the hard things that God does in exposing those things in our life that keep us back, the things that keep us down, the things that discourage us and we're afraid of, and we feel helpless and powerless. And so God does this work within us, and now we're at a place where all of a sudden things change, and it's these next verses that I remember when I was going through so much of this inward turmoil and exposure and stripping and kind of crushing and breaking. It's the pruning of the Lord that He does within our life. Branches that don't bear fruit, He cuts away, and those that do, He prunes. So this is this process. And I remember I always held on to these last verses because they were my hope. They were the things that kind of like the prize that is out there waiting for us or for me to seize and to grab hold of. And so here's the things I want to share with you, and you can have the same hope when you're going through a lot of these transformational processes, you might say, that the Lord does in your life. This miracle of freeing you from the anguishes of the soul, from the shame, remember? The shame, the fear, the self-contempt, and the longing. And so now it moves, and let's start. This is in Psalms 23, and it goes that you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. First, you hear that and you go, okay, prepares a table before me in the presence of enemies. And if you think about a table, a table is a place where you eat and drink from, right? It's in your home, it's personal, right? You daily eat from it for nourishment, right? Food is presented, you drink and you eat, and it satisfies you. So there is this picture of this table, okay, that the Lord prepares. Now, what's unique about this verse is you notice that the Lord didn't prepare a table in the presence of the king, the banqueting table at the end of the age in the kingdom of heaven. It talks about where we come together and feast. No, this is different. He prepares a table in the presence of the enemy, or my enemies. This is totally different. Now listen to this. This is profound. This is really amazing. It means that I have the right, the authority. God has given me, right? God has prepared me, right, to walk into Satan's house, to sit at his table, and to eat his food, and to drink his drink. Those things that he feeds off of, those things that he drinks from to give him nourishment, you are now taking it from him, preventing him to eat and to drink, and you're taking it from his table. This is personal. And this is a beautiful picture of retribution. It's like all the pain and suffering that Satan has inflicted upon your life and humanity, right? We're the ones that are down. We're the ones that are suffering and trodden. And he beats us down, right? He rules over us. And now all of a sudden the tables are turned, right? They're turned. And now we come in and we begin to sit at his table and take back what is rightfully ours. And there's nothing he can do about it. He can't stop you. Why is that? Why is it that he can't stop you? And this is the beauty. And this explains why we must take this inward journey. You see, Satan takes advantage of the anguishes of the soul, of the shame, of the fear, of the self-contempt, of the longing. Okay? And he accuses us. He's the accuser of the brethren. And he shames us, and he continually shames us to keep us down, to keep us weak, to keep us fearful. And this is where the fear comes of judgment and condemnation and fear of suffering and pain. And you see, he wounds us. He continues to injure us. He has a hold of us. Okay? He has something that he can dig his claws into, and then he feeds off of that, right? Feeds his own soul, because he suffers the same thing, but he feeds off of us, right? And the same thing with the self-contempt, the anger you have toward yourself for doing the things you do and the things that you say, and you regret, and you're angry and you're frustrated and you're torn inwardly about who you are and your identity as being the garbage that is left outside. I mean, there's just the anguish, and then the longing, where Satan feeds all the temptations to distract you from the true source of life, right? All of the perversions and all of the drugs and alcohol and sex and food and pleasures and money and power and fame and all the things that he just continually distracts and feeds you from, right? And what this is saying is that there's a point where the work that God does when it comes inside of you, and he frees you from those strongholds. But he must expose where Satan has a grip on you, has a hold on you. And this is what he says. When it says, like, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no more. I will fear no more. I will fear not, for you are with me. The Lord is with us. He empowers us. He says that your staff and your rod, they comfort me. I mean, those are the weapons that a shepherd uses to protect the sheep. It's like, so we are protected by Christ, so that we can walk into Satan's house and sit down at his table and take from him what he's stolen from us. And then he can no longer feed, right? Because you're eating his food and drink, which is the life, right? The life that is ours. There's a time that Jesus sent his disciples out, 70 of them in pairs, to go to towns, to go to the outward places, and he told them, when you go, go to a home that invites you in, and stay there and eat their food, whatever they give you, and bless the place and heal the sick and tell them that the kingdom of God is near. And so they went out, and when they came back, they were just so overwhelmed with joy and excitement, because that they were able to heal people. And he says that even the demons obeyed us. They were subjected to us. And Jesus rejoiced, because Jesus knew this This is the retribution thing when the story turns, right? Things turn around. No longer are we the ones that are afflicted, but now we can turn it around for the glory of God. And Jesus said this amazing thing. He said, I was watching Satan fall from heaven like lightning. You see that? Displacing Satan, falling from heaven. And then he said, behold, I've given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. The power of the enemy. And this is great. And nothing will injure you. Do you understand? The injury that Satan inflicts the most is upon your soul. I know physically there's affliction, but the soul is what suffers the most. He has no hold of you, no way of injuring you anymore because you're a lover of God. Nothing can stop a lover. Okay? Their heart is set right. Remember? They love with all their heart, with all their soul, all their mind, with all their will, with all their strength. They've been set free. And Satan has no hold on you. Can't tempt you. Can't discourage you. Can't shame you. Can't guilt you and frighten you or, obsess you with his sense of like temptations. He's helpless. He is helpless. Okay? Now you can imagine if one lover is set free, how great a threat that is to him. If you go out and now there are 2 lovers, and there are 3, and now there are 10, there are 50, 100, 1,000, 100,000 lovers that are set free. 1 million lovers set free. Satan is terrified of the lover because he can't do anything. He is helpless. And the fallen angels do not want this to happen. But now is the time. The Father is raising up. He's like the farmer. He's cultivated the vine, right? He's been pruning. He's been cutting. He's been nourishing and setting free, right? So the vine has great fruit, right? Remember we talked about the verse of the tree of life that is next to the water of life coming from the throne room, right? This is the life that fills us, it sets us free. And now we can come upon the earth and set the kingdom, right? Bring the kingdom of heaven upon the earth and set people free. It's a beautiful verse. Our shepherd prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You think about that. Hold that image in your mind and say, yes, Lord, whatever you need to do in my life, I want to become a lover. Set me free. I need to know you as my shepherd and my soul. To let go of the things that I've held on to that have no part of you, no part of the kingdom of heaven. Because I want to walk as a lover. And there's more promises that are coming. And we'll do that in the next video. Thank you. See you next time.